Hello. You are the merest meme man. So we are talking about Queen Elizabeth and Christian. And I joined just in time for episode 34 of the Dental Necrosis podcast. Right. Okay then, mate. And I joined just...
If you were all wondering what that was, I accidentally left it unmuted. So it picked up EDX. Don't worry about it, I'll be live in a moment. And a shoe, whatever. Yeah, I'm live. Alright. Today's episode is the SuchBullshit podcast, which I apologize for the delay of the startup. I was checking a few things. Episode 34, we're going to talk about Queen Elizabeth, the Queen of England, dying, and how these fucking YouTube wannabe news companies and groups like Sky News, for example, which I don't know why I'm getting a recommendation from that channel. They're all out here filming a fucking woman that's been dead for 3 days. Why not talk about the Queen? And we're also going to talk about incest laws and such because it's 34, right? It's episode 34, rule 34. If it exists, there's porn of it, right?
Like Christian.
Well. And it's always tradition to pop one of these open before bullshit podcast because again,
Soda.
yeah. So let's begin on the topic of the Queen here. The Queen of England. Yeah, the Queen of England is just full on. At this point, it's 3 days now. It's fucking irrelevant. Why am I not seeing thumbnails of the new king or the monarch or whatever? Like, why do we not hear more about him? Why are we still? If you type in Queen right now or England, you're getting more shit about fucking
Zipline.
What are you saying zipline for?
Zipline. Don't worry about it.
Whatever. So, why are we not seeing more information and more, more videos, more live feed about the king and what he's doing and that sort of thing? But then you have, like I said earlier, all these fake channels that are basically, and I'm not sitting here being like the Chris Crocker. I'm going, leave Britney alone. I'm not doing that. What I'm doing here is I'm just trying to figure out why, in the actualized fuck, is this still being talked about? It's 3 days now. It's 3 days now. Can I just repeat? It has been 3 fucking days.
It's the death of a monarch. It's iconic.
But it's not like it was a murder. If it was a murder, I could understand it being 3 days or a week. A week of mourning on the news media. Today we are recording all the people that are in mourning. Oh, man. But it's just a regular death from natural circumstances. Old age. And I don't see what the huge fucking deal is. I really don't. Anybody is replaceable. We're all fucking human beings at the same level. It fucking astounds me to no end, the stupidity of people and the fact that if you were to type in on YouTube right now, England, all you see are thumbnails of the fucking Queen. So, this is what prompted me to do this. This morning, I open up my phone on my computer, and the first fucking thing I see is this. This shit right here, down below, is what I'm greeted with when I log the fuck in. And if you notice right here, right here. One down, you see that? You see that? You see that? You think I fucking want to see this, YouTube? I don't know why I'm being recommended fucking, live feed of the Queen on my fucking goddamn channel. Like, do I look like, does the Such Bullshit podcast represent a news channel? Do I represent a news channel? I do not. So why am I being recommended other news channel feeds? Like, am I supposed to be the fucking paparazzi or something? No, I'm not. I am the anti-paparazzi bullshit of fucking propaganda bullcrap that you see on the everyday news. I'm that guy that, just like you, the viewer of my content, gets annoyed when they log in on a daily basis and see the same bullshit every single fucking day. That is what I'm about. I'm about pointing that out and walking away from it immediately and shunning these kind of shitty fucking people that are basically exploiting the death of a fucking queen, essentially. Her image is still being used on YouTube. And that Sky channel, let me bring it back up. I condemn that fucking Sky News channel right there. In that bottom right corner. I condemn that fucking channel. That channel shouldn't even be on YouTube. Or at the very least, should have that thumbnail fucking removed and just make it a building or something. Like, make it the cathedral where they were burying her or whatever, doing the ceremony. Anything that wouldn't be fucking relevant to just outright using her image or a younger photo of her or whatever. I'm tired of fucking hearing about it. I get it. She was the queen. I'm tired of hearing about her. I really am.
Tea.
What are you saying? I can't hear it. You're talking over me. What are you trying to say?
I'm drinking tea.
Oh. Well, the issue, they don't...
Right, Rick. She's dead. Get over it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point I'm trying to get at. Like,
we're gonna go to a pub with me mates.
Are you trying to be racist toward England's right now?
Racist toward England's in it. Hey, Morris, you ever heard of Bofa?
No.
Bofa days bollocks. Got them.
Okay. So,
Harry Potter. King of England 9 3/4. Gonna go play Quidditch
I
with
didn't
a
intend.
shotgun.
I didn't intend for this to become an England racist show, but you know.
Can I see a Chamber of Secrets? I need to be Slytherin. You got me Slytherin in me pants.
I almost had soda come out my nose.
Yankee Doodle, Yanks Frank, Yankee Doodle, masturbates.
I fucking can't right now, man.
Franken masturbates every day.
Okay. Let's get back on topic. So, the king.
I swear, I saw her death when I watched Shrek.
All right. Enough of the comedy hour now. Let's actually get back on point. Oh my head, fuck.
She was more dead than your teeth were, mate.
Yeah. So anyway, Jesus Christ, this is so fucking stupid. So the king, he comes in, he does this one video. He doesn't even go to the cathedral that they're all at, and he's just like, "Oh, I'm in mourning now, and now I've lost my my mum, and and now I run the country." But he did it in such a way that was just like, so casual. Like, he didn't want to make it a scene. He didn't go to the fucking cathedral knowing that it would be full on a publicity stunt for him. He didn't want to do that, so he just stayed home. He stayed home, he did his own thing, like a smart person would do in this case scenario. So I actually have a little bit respect for that king for doing that. Not just, going to the event going, like, "Hey, I'm going to take advantage of the situation. Hey, my mom is dead. Hey, give me some greeting cards. Hey, put my news and my photo all over the news. Hey, how you doing? I'll kiss a child, a baby. Hey." I'm kind of glad he didn't do that because
it would be like Jimmy Savile.
I guess. I don't know who that is, but it would be...
He was like the Jeffrey Epstein of the UK.
Yeah, sounds about right. It sounds about politically accurate. But, I figured...
So my gym coach.
I figured they would reenact some new laws or do something by now, or,
I'm playing cricket.
Stop the publicization of the fucking Queen's image all over, like, social media and stuff. Like, I get it, the Queen is dead, but, like, most of the people that are talking about the Queen of England's death aren't even from fucking England. Has anyone noticed that? No, we're not even from the same fucking country. And I get that, just because they're in another country doesn't mean you don't have to show support. No, it doesn't. In fact, it doesn't at all. We can choose to not do anything. Our involvement, the U.S.'s involvement, as a whole, whenever we involve ourselves with another country at all in any sort of manner whatsoever, it always affects our national debt. I do not like anything that fucks with our national debt, because the result of the national debt being fucked with, ultimately, it comes down to this. All minimum wage gets increased because everybody's going to complain that they're not making enough money in order to be able to afford their homes and do their things, because the prices to be able to afford homes, taxes, and all that fun shit that the government pushes on us all comes back down to increased debt. When our debt is so high, we are not able to afford homes, we can't do anything. Now, here's a good fun fact. Did you know that across many states, there are certain homes that considered low income would be a low income apartment? It's like $400, $500 in Pennsylvania, and that's considered cheap. $400 or $500 a month. How is that considered cheap? When you stop to think about that. And now it's even higher. Now it's like almost $1,000. Most apartments in New Jersey, I'll just... to my home state here, all of them are bare minimum like $1,100, $1,200. That's being cheap, and they're not as good as some other apartments. Some are a couple grand at a time. At that point, you might as well go move into a fucking New York condo and get a job in New York and just walk to your job every day. and save gas at the same time. I mean, we're at a point where our debt is so fucked up that the only way to survive is to literally work 45, 60 hours a week and have a condo in fucking New York or a major city, and that's our way of living when it shouldn't be. We should be able to have the choice of and I like what Elon Musk is doing with this, and I know this is completely off topic. He's been trying to build these foldable homes that you just open up from the sides, and I like that because not only is he taking bare minimum schematics to just build a simplified home that's like constructed and whatnot, and then sending it out in a very portable fashion. I mean, that could solve the housing crisis right now. And the housing crisis, we don't have enough supplies because we're not proactive enough. And right now, President Biden, the United States of 2022, is a complete fucking joke. His main focus has not been trying to get gas prices back down. The only reason they're not back down, or the reason they're down at like 370, 380, maybe 4, is because our workers in the oil industry, because of them, they're actually making the prices drop. They're mining more oil that we don't even fucking have, and we're trying to import it out from other countries that aren't Russia. And our best efforts is getting bare minimum under $4, when originally we were paying like $2 at most for a gallon of gas. So Biden's main thing has been, oh, let's do wind energy and then gas guzzle like 20 fucking SUVs as an SUV-cade, as they called it, a motorcade. And they were just burning through unnecessary amounts of gas and fuel. Do you really need a 20-man squad car or 20 squad cars following you to a fucking windmill? How about just like, 4 and maybe 2 army vans for protection? And maybe some Secret Service members in the cars. I mean, I don't see what would be so wrong with that. Why did it have to be 20 some cars on a fucking highway going straight? Like, you needed like the extra publication. Like, I don't understand that. So, as I've already stated, I personally do not like anything that fucks with our national debt, because it affects our way of living. The standard person's way of living in the United States is affected on a daily basis when it comes to people like Joe Biden fucking up immensely and thinking that wind energy is enough to power an entire city when it's barely enough capable of powering a city block, when it really couldn't. It might save money, maybe, and I thought this in the back of my head, maybe get some windmills with like solar panels on the blades as they're spinning around. I thought that would be a unique design, or one that would generate better kinetic energy or something. But like, for the most part, the amount of energy that they create is not enough to sustain an entire city. Even if you had an entire field of them, it just would not work. Now, you could sit there and project and pull out some numbers out of your ass, out of thin air, and say that this is what we need in order for this amount of wattage.
You have a huge ass.
And this amount of power for that. Please don't do that. For that amount, it wouldn't be enough to be able to power an entire city. There's just no fucking way. So maybe water power. And I always thought, maybe what if we put kinetic blades in like sewer pipes from when we had flooding, and they would spin when it's flooding, and we would get the power from that. That wouldn't be such a bad idea either, though. But then you'd have to go down into those pipes occasionally and check them and see if they're actually spinning, and making sure that the water flow is right, and making sure they're not clogged or jammed. So there's many other possible things that we could create in order to generate fuel and electricity, like clean fuel. But Biden's going about it all the wrong way, and it's not enough to fix the current gas pricing issue. But again, I'm going off topic when I should not be. I mean, this whole stream is about the whole fuckery with the Queen of England. Now, again, I don't approve of anything that decreases our debt, because our debt is already fucked. You as a human being to the United States on birth is worth less than $60,000. You're worth negative money. On birth, you're worth negative fucking money. 60 grand. Now, most people, the minimum wage a year, like the yearly minimum wage standard's supposed to be $20,000. Most minimum wage workers do not make that, and they do not save that because most of it goes out towards rent. It goes out towards their mortgage if they have one, if they own a home. But for the most part, it'll usually go to their car insurance, phone bill, any other service bill, food. The list could go on for that one. But our problems should not be affected by the fucking Queen of England who's now dead. That's the point I'm trying to make. And I don't sit here and I would not approve of any concept that would involve the Queen of England at all. Like, it doesn't make sense to sit here and have fucking live feed about the Queen of England if you weren't having Google AdSense on, like some of these fucking YouTube channels that I'm looking at right now. Here's a nice example of said YouTube channels. If we take a look at this, I mean, just look at that. Just look at that. Yeah, you got the younger one right there and the older one right there, and it's just like, it's purpose. It is completely on purpose, and you can tell that they're live because it has the little live icon next to the new. It's fucking substantial. It is substantial that this is even on fucking YouTube right now. Oh, the Queen's coffin, being departed for the burial service is being put into the ground. She has been dead for 3 days. Half of these people that run these channels are not from England. I'm pretty sure the only one on here that is from England would be the one down here, the Telegraph. Sky News is not one. CNN is definitely not one. And yeah, I don't see the purpose. I don't see the purpose as to why this is on fucking YouTube. I don't see the purpose as to why we are over globalizing her death. Why are we not talking about the King of England? Why are we not focused on the actual situation of what's going on internationally? Is the new King of England going to input new laws that are going to fuck over other countries? Are they going to change their importation fees? Are they going to change the cost of what goods we get from them already? Are they going to change the amount that the gold British pound is worth? How the fuck do we know any of this? That's our major fucking concern right now. Not this shit. Not this shit. For real. There are certain goods and trades that we get from the people of England, the UK, that we don't have open access to. Now, I don't have an exact exhausted list in front of me because, again, it changes over time. But there are certain, if I remember mistakenly, certain foods, particular, certain rare cuisine that we can't get because their fish in their ocean waters is a little different than ours. Maybe they have different types of salts because, again, salts would come from the ocean, and different salts, as you would know, are good for cooking and they're of value. So they're also used for, freezing over the snow when it comes to putting it on the roads and such, so that way we don't have ice and black ice on our roads, stuff like that. Now, again, they have certain trade goods that I don't have a list in front of my hands that I could sit here and say, oh, well, this is what we're going to be probably losing out on because the new King of England is going to insert some kind of new law or a new importation tax or a certain amount of fee to line up his own pockets because he's the King of fucking England now and the new monarch. Now, when you think about that, I want you to think about that really hard. Why does that shit right there, to my right, fucking matter at all? Why does this shit matter? You should be mattering and thinking about what the hell kind of
nobody
new laws...
cared about Pol Pot at all.
What did you say?
When Pol Pot died, nobody talked about it.
Yeah. When I die, I don't care if people talk about it.
What was the economy like when Hitler died?
Exactly. That's a good question, actually. What happened to the Germany economy? What happened to Germany's whole trade? What happened to their what is their dollar called? I don't recall what it's called. It's not rubies. That's
in Germany.
Yeah. What is their money called?
Back then it was Reichspfennigs.
Reichspfennigs. So like, how much were those to the U.S. dollar at the time?
German currency. German currency today is the euro, but German currency in 1940s, you can get and they were basically like coins with swastikas on them. That's where the Reichspfennig came from. The Reich. So it's basically German marks and German pfennigs.
Yeah.
So the German mark.
I remember the coin because my grandfather brought some back. My grandfather was in the war, so he brought some back.
And he had some of their currency.
Yep, he took some.
Yeah, he took some from a soldier.
Yep.
Yeah, he mugged one.
One that was already dead.
Yeah, he mugged some Nazi Chudzel.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
One of my distant four families. I don't know if it was my grandfather or my great grandfather, but my family has been in both World War I and II, so I have shit.
Yeah, after the Berlin Wall, I think was it the East German mark?
That might sound
the Eastern
accurate.
Mark and the Western mark.
Was it a silver coin or a bronze looking coin?
I think you're referring to the silverish looking coin.
That might be the one I have.
Yeah, with the
because I have a silver one and a bronze one.
There's probably some bronze ones out there. Yeah, there's a pre-war bronze.
Pre-war. That's what it is. Okay, see, I have memories and knowledge of all this old shit.
Okay, the bronze one is like a penny.
Yeah,
and
it's not worth much.
5 is aluminum bronze, and then pre-war 10s are aluminum bronze, but I think they're more silverish.
Sounds about
some
right.
Of these might be, I think the one you have might be zinc or aluminum.
Because they couldn't get tin. Getting tin is a lot harder in Germany. I think it's not really that rich in tin in the entire area. But again, we're now at the halfway point, so I'm going to stop talking about the Queen of England. And this is all I'm going to say to those YouTube channels that have her face plastered. All these channels right here. Take her fucking face off of fucking YouTube. You never personally knew her. Just fucking remove it. I mean, get this shit off the platform. Get it out. Get it out. Get it out. Just take this shit the fuck away. Change the thumbnail to a building. Make the cathedral. Maybe where she lived. Something. Don't put her fucking face all over the goddamn platform. She's dead and gone. Don't over-glorify somebody's death, because that just makes you the biggest piece of shit. Especially if you're not even from fucking England, okay? So these channels, if you're not from England and you're doing this shit, I don't know if you are. I don't have the facts in front of me. I will apologize if you are from England and actually doing this out of respect for the Queen, because, you cared that much. Just, if you're not, fucking remove it, please. That's all I'm gonna ask, because I find it really fucking annoying that it's been 3 days, and all I see on Twitter and YouTube is, oh, the Queen of England's dead. Oh, no, the Queen of England's dead. Oh, I care more about the facts of what's going to fuck the United States up, the country that I live in, that could go under at any fucking moment, just like any other country in the United States or every other, well, not the United States, the world, any other country in the world that would get fucked over immediately by a new king coming in. It'd be kind of like, hey, the new king that comes in, suddenly he's as bad as fucking Putin right now. And now we have 2 Putins running around going like doing the Nazi dance together and having a good time, right? Or maybe they're doing the little caramel dancing outside their fucking office, and then while they're pressing nuke buttons on their desk, doing it at the same time. Going, da, 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 and they're just hitting nuke buttons. And we're bombing one another. And then we're at another fucking world war. I care more about that than the Queen fucking dying. I'm sorry. I don't give a shit for this. I personally do not. I could die tomorrow, and I don't care if my death is glorified or not. I would be more pissed off if people glorified my death that didn't know me. Personally, I would be that pissed off. Anybody that put my face on a video thumbnail when I'm already dead, I would shame them and haunt them for the rest of their fucking lives. Personally, I would actually do it until they actually did drop dead. I would haunt them from the grave. I'd find a way to do it. So, let's end our talks on the Queen of England, because that was the more bullshit part. And this is I'm trying to go for a half-hour segment, and I just did that segment. So now this is the next half hour. And I'll probably end up having to cut out some stuff because I was waiting, so we'll probably get back to that. So it wasn't probably an hour, because I have the startup sequence, which was like a minute or two. So let's talk about the incest law, because this is episode 34, and as you know, 34 is a very magical number on the internet. In fact, there is a rule. There's a set of rules on the internet. 34's particular rule is, BDX, do you know what rule 34 is? Do you know what the rule is? Can you explain to my audience while I remove this off my screen?
If it exists, there's porn of the queen.
Well, no, if it exists, there's porn of it, but I wanted to particularly go over the incest law because I find the idea that we even have such a law fascinating. I find it interesting. Like, why do we have a law against it, and why do we have certain countries that are okay with it? Now, I'm not saying that it's okay or bad. I'll get to my opinion near the end of this segment, but let me talk about what I find interesting. I'm bringing this up because of pro-lifers. The recent pro-lifing with Roe v. Wade. I'm bringing this into question, BDX, and I want your opinion on this. I want to ask you a question, okay? I want to ask you a question. So
I'm trying to figure if there's a word in gematria that adds up to 34 that's related to what you're talking about. I can't find one.
Well, I want to ask this.
Roe, Wade.
If you were a pro-lifer, not a pro-choicer, and you don't care for the medical stuff, and you were a woman, and you secretly fucked your brother, would you have the baby still? And if you were pregnant, even if there was protection used, would you still have the baby? And would you still do it? Would you still do it? Think about it. Think about it. Would you still do it? Would you abort and go against your principles? That's why I wanted to bring this up, because this goes into another level of the pro-lifer, counter argument. When you stop and think about it, as to why it would be messed up to not get one, because at that point you are purposely bringing life into existence that is going to be mentally or physically disabled in one way or another, because you're having sex with your sibling. Now, we could have a counter argument for goddamn hours on end about Adam and Eve, and how we're all related. Like BDX, me and you are related. We're brothers, distant brothers, like by 0.00000 repeating 12 or some number, right?
And I'm the retarded one.
Yeah, and we're basically that. And we're all gonna sit here and try to figure that out? No. By that standard, the incest law makes no fucking sense, because everyone in the world is related to one another. Now, we could say, well, fuck the Christianity view part. Let's not even look at it like that. What if we looked at it like, Richard Dawkins' theory of evolution? Like how we were all born from fucking fish to monkeys to human beings, like the South Park episode where Mr. Garrison gets a sex change and bangs Richard Dawkins. That thing where they were trying to explain that. It's very interesting to me that we could have all been born from fish into monkeys into that. And if the theory of evolution was true, let's look at it like that.
That's where Call of Cthulhu comes from.
Right. But let's look at it like this. What if we were all from evolution and there's just more than two? So there's no Adam and Eve. There's just like probably a few dozen fish to monkey to human hybrids that come along, and we're now these subhuman hybrids that aren't even fully conscious of every decision that we're making yet, and we're just banging, and then that's still brothers and sisters banging to one another and making this entire fucking clusterfuck of a tree, so it's still incest. So both theories stop at incest. So both theories even support it in life, be Adam and Eve's Christianity view or the evolution theory, both of which, at the end of the day, lead and result in us being incest children. From a distant fucking line, generating all the way back, maybe 300 generations worth. Possibly more. And I find it interesting that, again, these pro-lifers are going to get upset that there are children that are going to be dying. That they're not dying now.
It's called incest.
There's children that are going to be dying now. The children. Oh, think of the children. Oh, there's a heartbeat Oh, there's brain activity. It's alive. You can't kill it. Well, what if it's mentally and physically disabled? Would you want to be born with a pink helmet on? You're not able to make decisions. You can't take care of yourself. Would you still want to be born? You're not able to make sense of things. You're not able to make laws. You're not able to be a police officer or go to school properly by yourself. You're not able to have a friend or a girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. You can't even live. You can't even enjoy your life. You're just I knew a kid back in elementary school, back years ago. I'm talking like 25 fucking years ago. And his name was Kevin, and he was in a wheelchair. He had one physical disability where his entire mouth was slanted off and jaw slanted. He couldn't speak. He was blind in one eye, and both of his legs didn't work. Only his left hand worked, and he couldn't speak properly, as much as he tried. And it turned out, he told me later down the road in writing, he said that he's an incest child, and he didn't want to live. He was trying to kill himself on drugs. And eventually, when I was 16, I was in high school, he OD'd in the classroom. In the classroom with us all. We were like, what the fuck? We turned around because he was in the back of the room and he was just dead. We're like, oh. Because he wasn't responding. Like, we were asking him a question because we had a quiz report or something, and everyone had to stand up and give their presentation. And when his name was called at the end, he didn't respond. We turned around, looked at him, and he wasn't responding, and he was just dead. So, what I'm trying to say is that, would you still want to live? I don't think so. I mean, there's people that fucking green out and have anxiety attacks while greening out, and they feel like they're having a heart attack that lasts for 2-3 hours. Those people think about nothing about, oh, I don't want to die yet. I don't want to die yet. Because they still have something worth living for, because they made the conscious decision to, smoke a shit ton of weed and suffer THC poisoning. But again, there are other situations that are near-death experiences that people stop and realize, is it worth living? And you really do think about that. When you're in the middle of going through something like that, you stop and you ask yourself out loud, in your head, in the back corner of your mind, at some point, during that entire experience that you feel like you're about to die, you ask yourself, is it worth continuing to keep going? Now, I'm not going to sit here and advocate for suicide or against it. I'm just pointing this out. I'm just pointing it out how I feel like some kid, when I was in high school, killed himself because he didn't want to continue existing because he was mentally and physically disabled. And he couldn't go through with half the stuff that he was doing in life. So, when you're avoided like that, you're a social outcast because you're a reject. You're considered a reject by social ingenuity. You don't have anybody. So at that point, when you're a social loner and you're to yourself, most people that are doing that, they end up killing themselves. It's pretty common. And it's unfortunate, but when you sit here and advocate, oh, pro-life, it's sometimes better off to just not have those people alive when you think about it. You're going to be born just to suffer. That's what it is. To quote Final Fantasy XIV Medion, to live is to suffer. And to suffer is to be reincarnated, brought back, and to suffer again. Because why the fuck not? And at the end of the day, that's just nothing but despair. There's no fucking point. There's no continuation. There's nothing to do. So, my point being, what would a pro-lifer say to me at any point in time, right now or in the future, to that argument in a very peaceful manner, if they could approach me and come up to me and say, hey, look, I feel like if I was a pro-lifer and I was pregnant with my own brother or sister or whatever, we had a pregnancy and we're going to have the kid and it's mentally and physically disabled and they maybe years down the line, they kill themselves. Is that expected to happen? Like, you really have to ask that question. And it's a very serious question that I thought would completely and utterly destroy the whole pro-lifer approach. Completely. There's no recovery from that. You could say, well, we'll have the child, we'll put them through special disability programs and all. The U.S. doesn't have any kind of funding for the U.S. disability programs. You're going to be like walking your kid to every school, every public school, college. You're going to have to homeschool them. Like they're not going to have a fair chance like you had growing up. Like it's kind of bad. So again, and I don't have anything against mentally disabled people or physically disabled. I support them regardless. I have distant family members, grand family that is physically and mentally disabled from insanity, from just overall drug use and misuse and a few other things. And I have other family and friends that are just like that. And I usually help them. I'm respectful to them. But half of them just don't want to live. Most of them just do not want to live. That's all there is to it. And it's unfortunate. But let me get to this part. I want to ask a certain question and state a few things. A lot of pro-lifers out there, you know, I'm just going to specify this. They don't like me that I'm pro-choice. They don't like the fact that I'm this guy that thinks about nothing but, and you could view it as, oh, I think about nothing but money and national debt and all that. And that might be true, but I do so.
About everything you want to think about, brother.
It's not that. It's, I guess I can think about everything, but I feel like it's more important to be able to live freely and as easily as possible for everybody else for the sake of peace. So I'd like to sit down here and, you know, I like to have a bottle of pop and relax, you know, give medical assistance where it's needed. But I'd like to ask a very, very simple question. To all pro-lifers out there, I ask this. Will pro-lifers protect incest babies? How many will actually secretly abort and not bring a mentally and physically disabled or physically challenged child into the world? How many would secretly abort? That's what I want to know. How many would secretly do it? And I really think about it. Like, let's brush up on the incest laws in the United States. Just the United States, because every country is different. In fact, most of Europe, even though they publish this and like stories and such, and like statements from their political their factors or whatever on certain news media sites, they publicize how their version of the law. Most of these law websites that claim that they're supporting a document from this country and X and I tried to look up just now. It's illegal in England to commit incest.
Why do they all look like
that? Well, yeah. So then I asked this question, and I looked at this map. Apparently, they're secretly legal, or just not. There's no data, or there's not enough enforcement going on for them to actually push those laws to court. So they have these opinion laws, as I like to call them, in place. So that's why I'm not going to get into them yet, but I'll go back in a moment. But I want to state this, okay? To brush up on the state laws, okay? So nobody here has to Wikipedia this shit. You'll just get it directly from me. There are 2 states in the United States that allow incest. The first one is Rhode Island. BDX.
My God.
BDX, can you guess the second one? BDX, what is the second state?
California?
No, that's a good guess. That's a really good guess, and that's actually one of the jokes I was going to make. If you had guessed California, you're wrong. But I'll give you a hint. Snooki's backyard.
Uh-oh.
So what state's Snooki's backyard?
North Dakota.
It's not North Dakota.
It's where their backyard is.
No, that's New Jersey.
Atlantic City?
It's New Jersey.
Oh!
The Jersey Shore?
New York City.
The Jersey Shore. Oh, well. The Jersey Shore, basically.
Yeah, because, like, the shore, their backyard would be in the ocean. Okay, is that why, Dagon from Call of Cthulhu looks the same as the other fish people?
I don't know, maybe. I mean, hell if I know. I mean, but South Park, believe it or not, when they did that Snooki episode, did you notice that she was like this fucking smog monster rolling around, like Cthulhu monster or whatever? I like to consider that, like, South Park was also making a joke at, like, abortions or, like, mentally and physically disabled and just, like...
Yeah, like when your water broke and you needed to row your boat and wade through water. Row me wade.
Yeah. So my home state, New Jersey,
Fuck
allows
my ass.
incest. My home state, New Jersey, that I live in, allows incest. Now, I joked about California, and BDX had also mentioned California, surprisingly, because back in 2001, and this is so fucking interesting, in fact, California was almost about to allow incest, but they changed their mind halfway through the case. There was a case called the People versus Tobias. And what Tobias was it was a thing that basically, the short version of that was this. The prosecutors fucked up. They got half of the requirements to the judge, and the judge was like, I don't know what to do. Let me consort with the higher power or whatever and look at the legislations and make a decision with the jury. And then the prosecutors are like, all right, well, we don't know what to do, but we got half of the requirements to meet the case, and we're already in court. What do we do? And then they come back with a second opinion from the Court of Appeals, and they're like, well, this is kind of an uncomfortable and fucked situation. And basically, the Court of Appeals had their panties in a bunch, and they were like, all right, we're going to change the laws mid-case, and here you go. It's now illegal to do this amount, but here's this. And they basically put hurdles in place that these, the victim
Hey, if you want
and the
more
person
than an ounce, it's an illegal amount of incest.
Right. But
if you're caught with this amount of incest at the border, you're going to get federal probation.
So the thing I wanted to say was that the incest laws in the United States don't make any fucking sense whatsoever. I mean, we have 2 states, only 2. But like, why are all the other ones banned? And you stop to think about that. I mean, what was the joke for years that back in like the 90s? BDX, do you remember in the 90s how many people joked about like Alabama and you have sex with your sister in Alabama?
Oh.
Do you remember that was like a running gag for years, or like a talked about rumor, like how the state of Alabama has like a shit ton of incest and hillbillies and stuff have incest? But like, it's illegal in Alabama too. So it's kind of like this gray zone of opinionated law that I'm talking about. It's a law that these politicians put out, but it's not even enforced. It's not stopped. It's not regulated or checked because it's not major. It's not like a convenience store and a gun where you're going in there. You know, you got a gun. Let's pretend that this bottle opener is a gun. All right, I'm pointing a gun at you. All right, hand over your shit, and then you walk out the door with the robbed objects. There's a cop literally parked right there. He's like, "Hey, how you doing? See ya, man. You take care. See ya. Bye." And then you're just like running off with the stuff. And then that right there, that's how I view it. It's an opinionated law that isn't enforced or not cared about. And there's nothing wrong with laws like that. But when you have politicians sitting there trying to push them, it doesn't make any fucking sense. Now, it's sort of like how, do you remember the Ocular Penetration Act? Do you remember that YouTube video you saw online where the old guys was like, we need to make a skull fucking bill? It's like that. It's an opinionated law that they put in place that will never be enforced because it's ridiculous. Especially the fact that if you got a brother and sister, obviously they live in
Ocular Penetration Act.
Now, when you got a brother or sister, right? Or a brother and sister, let's say, for example, and this is in New Jersey.
Representative Benjamin Sinclair, Ohio 17th District, C-SPAN.
All right.
No, that's C-SPAN. This is a parody.
Well, let me get to this. Since I'm in New Jersey, let me put a theoretical factor here. Let's say I had a younger sister that was 25 and I'm 30. Legally speaking, because we're in our own homes, we're both adults, and it's in New Jersey, I could have sex with the sister.
Bro.
But because it's behind closed doors in your own home,
Yes.
The cops have no reason to go into your home, so legally they can't enforce it unless somebody complains. It's sort of like how, and I view sex and marriage at the same level of gratuity.
People in the back, sister.
Listen. I view, and some judges will also view it like this: the courts and marriage, not the courts, sex and marriage.
Shit.
Both those two things are at the same level of gratuity and treated the same. Because if you're married, it's basically like saying you're consensual with the other person. Now, what I don't understand is certain legal cases where it goes like, oh, we're married, but he raped me. How does that make sense? You're married and consenting in love. BDX, does that make any sense? That a judge can side with a woman that's complaining rape even though they're married to the guy?
I mean, that's kind of 50-50. I mean, you can
Yeah,
still,
it's
you can still.
50-50.
I mean, do they consent to being battered? Does that absolve you of like slamming their head into like the kitchen sink? Not really.
No, it doesn't. But the
But
whole
like
thing with rape.
that's the thing is, it's like I mean, why would you marry someone and then be like, and then cheat on them and only cheat on them? Like that's
Well, there's not
divorce.
there'd be nothing to do with cheating here unless
That's
that
called
was
a dead bedroom, man.
unless
It's
that
like,
was thrown into the mix. If cheating on the significant other was thrown into the mix, it would be reason for a divorce, but it wouldn't be a reason to rape them. Like that wouldn't even line up with what the explanation I was given. Without any cheating, anything at all. Think about it only being a quote unquote rape victim at that point. How how does the law handle that? Why does a judge get to say if, for example, a woman wants to marry a guy and it's roles reversed? It's not a man getting on his knee; it's the woman getting on her knee and say, "Hey, look, I want to marry you," and they get together, and then the woman rapes the guy and sperm jacks him. What then? How does the judge handle that? It goes back and forth. So when I say sex and marriage, I view at the same gratuity. I don't think a judge in any state, any federal
Nolan,
jurisdiction, I,
sex.
I don't feel like a judge in any jurisdiction or state has the right or opinion or even the legal ramification to even do the following. If you are married, if one of the two people if one of the two people claim rape, a
They
judge
got
should not be
sodomy laws, bro.
what?
Sodomy laws.
I don't feel like the judge should be able to legally prosecute either one of them if they're claiming rape.
Well, the judge is
I would have to feel like that would need to be properly investigated by a third party or a PI at that
the
point.
judge is watching my penis go into his mouth.
Come on, man. Basically,
Because it's sodomy laws, bro.
look, I think marriage is not a property right. I get it. It's not property rights.
All
But
right,
at the
check
same
out
time, you're
sodomy laws
consenting.
in the United States.
You're still consenting when you stop to think about that. You're consenting to being in love and all that shit, and it's a peaceful negotiation that you're going to be, with them forever. You share half their shit. So you're sharing a home, the living space, the car, that type of thing. You're getting used to being around them. But then when you stop and you look at the situation of claiming that you're a rape victim, a woman can easily claim, and this is kind of fucked up when you stop to think about this, because like BDX said, it's a 50-50.
Yo, did you know that in Alaska back in 1971 and 1980, they had to decriminalize oral sex and anal sex?
No, I didn't. But
so, like, if you suck someone's dick, you can go to jail in Alaska. If it was like the 1970, you can go to jail for sucking a dick.
If you're forcing your spouse, are you honoring them as your oath? Well, I mean, some spouses are into that kinky shit. They're into being forced or, put up against the wall, BDSM, and all that stuff.
Williams be Glendening.
It could be considered a kink, but then
decree.
What I don't find right, BDX, BDX, don't interrupt me for this. I just want to make it a clear statement. What I don't find right is the fact that you can go out of your way, get married to a person that you care about, a woman or whatever, or man, it doesn't matter. Maybe you're for a gay marriage. I'm not going to sit there and judge it. I'm not against it either. What I find messed up is you can get married to them, and then, again, divorcing would be you take half and half their stuff. What you could do in this case, if you're a woman in that case, and that you want to put the man in jail for whatever reason. Oh, he raped me. Just have regular sex with him, and then the next day she goes to court and be like, all right, I want to call the cops on you. You raped me, and it was consensual the other night. You get taken to court. She gets half your shit. She files divorce while you're in jail. She takes half of your belongings and then scoots. How's that fair? Is that considered rape at that point? How does the man justify that wasn't rape? To a judge, because the man's physically stronger than the woman, right? Unless proven otherwise, unless she's like this big fucking workout muscular woman and she's like a fucking athlete and you're just like this regular guy. It's like this fat dude in a, long sleeve shirt like me. It's
She-Hulk and Timmy the Twink.
Yeah. It's like you get to that point. How does a judge handle that? Why does a judge have a right to handle that at all? Why does a PI not get put into place, get investigating both parties to a fucking detail? I mean, like, confiscate phone records, check emails, any communication log whatsoever that would indicate that the person is trying to be dishonest and steal shit and walk away from it all. It astounds me. And a judge just gets to make one singular decision, and then the man's put in jail for no reason, and then the woman gets to scoot with money. Just like a regular divorce case. And that situation I described happens so fucking frequently. And it's undocumented. That's the worst case. That's all there is to it. That's why I wanted to bring up incest laws. Because I find the concept of incest laws in the United States very interesting as to why we even have 2 states that allow it. Now, I'm not saying that our fucking governor should come along I hate the New Jersey governor, by the way, the current one. Chris Christie was awesome a little bit, but the judges don't do it. Family members would get... Yeah. So family members or judges, or like even a PI, a private investigator could look into it. Anybody could look into it, but unfortunately they don't fucking do it. So a family, you can only get so much recognition because family could lie on paper and legal documentation, and then it's two parties, the female's family lying and then the male's family lying, and they're just like, there's conflicting issues there. And then a PI, I would think a PI investigating their shit would be a lot better. Investigating their social media. Maybe they're going on social media like, I just divorced my ex. I took all of his money. And then use that video against them in a court of case. It's kind of interesting. But let's talk about international law. International laws, okay? There is, if you look up on Google, a EU map of incest. Where certain countries are just letting it slide. They don't give a fuck. Spain being one of them. A few other countries that I don't want to make note of have very extended laws that are pretty insane and pretty harsh. I think Puerto Rico has like a 10-year sentence minimum or something like that. And most of, believe it or not, South America, most of the Brazil, the whole right half of South America, they don't give a fuck. There's no documentation, no law. They don't care. You want to bang your sister in Guatemala? You could, because guess what? It's not even enforced down there. It's not the main crimes in fucking South America is gang related and drugs. It's not fucking incest. It's not rape. It's more along the lines of actual fucking crime. So again, because there's no data, no statistics, and these like one singular political figure goes in the court and says, "Hey, look, legislator, I'm a legislator. I'm going to change the law." BDX, I'm here in playback. Because I want to change the law. Here we are. We're changing the law now. And we're not going to put it in place. You guys can't do this anymore. But they're still doing it. Because the fucking police aren't going to fucking utilize and break into homes without any kind of actualized search warrant. They need a reason, a good probable reason to go in. Now, it took Christian, for example, years upon years and fucking documentations, Kiwi farms existing, just to be able to get cuffed for fucking incest. Because they wanted to arrest him for something because he's a nut job. They wanted to get him out of reality because the guy's nuts. So they pinned him with incest and the cops grabbed him. Because it finally turned up. Something finally came up that would result in him getting arrested, and it happened. So, again, I find it crazy. The world that we live in is crazy. The Queen of England dying, so what? It's done. Go focus on the king. Stop fucking with the king. Start following the king more. Find out what laws and shit he's going to put. Because it's going to fuck every country over. He could change the taxes and trade mounts.
Have incest with the king.
Yeah, go have incest with the king, because we're all incest children. We're all related to one another, I guess, because, that's how
we're
it is.
We're all Icelandic, just like Bjork.
We're all related to one another in one way or another. I mean, honestly, if you
My
wanna,
name is Sven
if you live in New Jersey, you can have sex with your family members. I mean, it's completely legal. So if you wanted to do so, I live in New Jersey. If I had a sister or a cousin, I could totally could. I got a couple nieces and nephews. It'd be totally illegal, unfortunately, because again, it's our state.
His sister. He's the angry incest nerd.
You can't be fucking serious.
Yo, who else? Dude, the Jersey Devil came from that, bro.
What?
From incest, dude.
Probably.
Yo, Watch Dogs Legion were like, stop fucking your brother.
Jesus Christ, man. I'm just astounded. The internet is a very fucking stupid place. Also, Rhode Island, I don't know why would be one of the states for incest being allowed it, but I don't know. But New Jersey,
Sam Hyde's mom.
New Jersey being acceptable for fucking incest is very, very, very weird.
That's very Jersey.
I don't know, but I wonder how many cases of incest in the U.S. have been found throughout the year, or how many instances, or I'd like to know those statistics. If somebody has those statistics or has a good estimate, I'd love to know how many people in the United States committed incest this year so far, or of last year.
Bro.
Or of just 1 year in general. I'd like to know, like from like police reports to actual cases. Like how enforced is this? And why would a pro-lifer support an incest child being brought into the world? How would they respond to that? How would they respond to that kind of a question? That's a legitimate, honest, fair, relaxed, peaceful question from somebody like me that is pro-choice, literally just asking, why would that be acceptable behavior to bring in a child into the world?
Bro, that's crazy.
To bring in a child into the world that is going to be physically, mentally disabled. That's a legit question. Now, excuse me while I end this podcast, and I'm going to go find a sister or a cousin, and I'm going to go bang them, because apparently that's legal in New Jersey. Yeah, that's legal. I'm going to go bang my sister. Bye. I don't have a sister, by the way. I legit don't have a sister. I've always wanted one.
Damn.
I've always wanted a little brother or a little sister, but I'm the youngest one of three, so it's very unfortunate for me. I had to be the young one getting bullied, I guess, all my life. But hey, it's nice to know that if I was, younger,
Whoop whoop! All over that ass too fat. Whoop,
if I had a younger sister, it's nice to know that, legally speaking, she could be banged by me.
Whoa, man! Whoa! At least this ain't Korea.
Yeah. So let me go back to the transition thing. Let me know when that hits.
Fuck.
Enjoy the music, guys. That is the end of episode 34, where you get to hear me talk about banging my sister that doesn't exist.
Bitch.
Oh, God.
Fuck.
Somebody's probably gonna go take that audio clip. Or me fucking misconstrue it, but I don't give a fuck.
Bitch.
Oh, God.
Shit.
Hey, BDX. You know what you could do, right?
Your sister?
No. You could bring your sister down here to New Jersey, and you totally could. Yeah? 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 You totally could. You totally could. It'd be legal.
Oh, Jesus.
You know what makes it worse? You could have totally did your mom down here.
Whoa.
The doing your mom thing,
Whoa.
The doing your mom.
Whoa.
That'd be real.
Dude.
Now you could take it to the actual level of doing your mom.
Douchebag. You a douchebag. 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 What's happening for him? Maris is doing his brother.
Okay, no.
It's not gay because there's no Snooki around. The Nintendo 64 cables didn't touch.
I actually hate both of my brothers, but that's me.
I turned myself into an incest rape monkey, Morty.
Jesus Christ. Alright, that's the end of the podcast.